Hi everyone and welcome to this Blender tutorial. Today we will be looking at GeoNode's align rotation to vector. So what that will allow you to do is, if you have a collection of objects with GeoNodes, you can rotate them to point to a third-party object which you can move around, which I think is quite useful for aligning to ground planes or moving objects and things like that. So it's cool. So right, as always with these tutorials, you've got to delete the default cube and then put yourself a little plane back in there. Open yourself a little window with geometry nodes. Click new to get in your geometry nodes. Come on. There we go. Cool. And then what you want to do is add yourself a grid. Doesn't really matter what size. And then we're going to put that into the geometry node output. So you can see there, nothing too greatly is happening there. So now we need to put some instances on points, which you can put instances on points, put that into there, everything's disappeared. And then this is the cool bit. So you could put anything you want in terms of an instance. It could be an object, but for this example, I'm going to use a cone. Okay, that's massive. So let's just scale the bottom radius down. So if you hold shift, it allows you a bit more fine control rather than it just jumping up and down out of control. And then we'll make the depth go down as well, because obviously we don't need it that big. Perfect. So as you can see, for all of the points within that grid, of which we've got 9, I think 9 by 9. Yes, it's 9. You can see how it's popped those little cones onto there. And then if you go to your rotation settings, you can see how you can kind of individually rotate those. So you would rotate each instance on each of those points. So the next cool bit is to then make it align to something. So if I go to, where is it now? Empties. Could have anything. It could be another object. It doesn't have to be an empty, but this example, it makes it nice and easy. So then what we need to do is make the geometry nodes aware of the empty. So if I go to my outliner there, drag and drop it in, it should create you an object info node. So that's great. So what we then need to do is get the position of each of the cones. Get that. And then we need to subtract one from the other, because what we're looking for is a vector from between the cone itself and the empty. So then we can figure out how to rotate the cone to point to the center of whatever geometry you want to point it towards. So to do that, we take the location and do a vector math node, math even, plug the position to there, and then subtract one from the other, subtract. And then we then need to tell geometry nodes to rotate or align it used to be the EULA, but it's just, what is it now? The actual vector to the vector. So if we go in there and you'll search something called rotate to vector. Oh, no, that's the one. Delete that. Align is all I'm looking for. Align to rotation. So we're going to put the vector into the vector. And then now if we put rotation into rotation, you can see immediately now we're getting some reaction. And the good thing about this is because it's working out the distance between the 2 points, you can scale up, or it will literally follow it around depending on where it is. This is cool. Cool. So yeah, that's quite a simple tutorial. The next one we'll probably do would be around changing things like the scale of each of these. So you can get some pretty funky effects, and you can make this grid bigger or smaller than what you want. So 2, and then 5. So you can scale this up as big as you want. Cool. Hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, thanks for listening. Any suggestions on further content or videos, please don't hesitate to pop them in the comments. And if you like this stuff, give it a like and a subscribe. And yeah, see you in the next one.